Hey friends and welcome. I'm Christine and welcome to Crafty Southern Home. I appreciate you guys so much for stopping by. This first flip, to be honest, I didn't know this when I got this, but I think this was from the Dollar Tree. But it's a very just simple little plastic box and very shiny. So I am going to use this bonding primer. This is my first time using this, to be honest, but this is for slick surfaces to allow your paint to adhere. I'm going to use my Dixie Belle paint in driftwood, and I'm just going to paint my little box. 2 coats of that. And then I'm using these specialty stencils. These are called the Show Offs collection. I get these from Hobby Lobby. This was my first one that I've actually used. I have a couple in my supply, just haven't used them yet. Y'all gonna, well, I don't show it, but y'all, sometimes I'm special. So I messed up, and I didn't know that they actually had a backing to them. I had put it where I wanted it on my little box, did my stencil, and I'm stenciling with Gravel Road. That's also Dixie Belle. And then I pulled it up and went, well, that didn't lay down. Y'all, it has a back to it. I didn't know. So they each come off. I've never used these stencils before. Like I said, I've got a couple in my stash and just haven't used them. But they're removable, and they have an adhesive backing to them. So when you pull them off, they'll actually stick to your surface. Now, I do still use my masking tape to help hold it where I want it to go, but they are adhesive, so that's pretty nice. I'll definitely be getting some more of these, and next time I'll know how to use them correctly. So, but anyhow, so I'm just simply going to stencil this on and let that dry. Then I am going to come in with another Dixie Belle, and it's the Best Dang Wax series, and this is called the Grunge Gray. I love this color because it really does make stuff look just kind of aged. So after I painted, of course I got a little bit of paint on my little hinges because I did not tape those off, and I'm sorry this is off camera, but you'll see me here in a minute. I'm just taking and going around with a little brush with that grunge gray on the hinges and on that little clasp. So then I'm just going to let that dry. And then I'm coming in with this product. And let me get my little jar so I don't get this wrong. And I've used this before, and I find this at Hobby Lobby as well. It is Deco Art Metallic Lustra Wax Metallic Finish, and this is in the Champagne Ice. Now, I'm just going to lay this down on that clasp and the hinges. And then I decided to actually put some across that wording as well. It just brings out this nice, I'm going to say feminine because it is this champagne ice. But now the way you apply this, not with a brush, because the consistency of it is, it's smooth, but after you dip into it and rub it around a little bit, if that makes sense. It gets creamy as you move it, so you can't do a brush application with it. So I always just use my finger and put that on there. And you guys, let me know what you think of this end result, but I just think it's a cute little memories box to put whatever in it. I have a couple of little boxes laying around. Like, I don't know if people still do this. This may show my age, but I have a couple of my baby's teeth, their first teeth that came out, and I actually store little items like that. Some little charms that are special to me, like when she was a baby, I had the one with a picture in it and her little teeth. But you guys let me know what you think of this one. This was not a hard flip at all. guys, on to project number 2, and this one is a little more work, but don't be intimidated by using these molds. So I found these little bookends. These are real lightweight, so I wouldn't rely on them to hold heavy books, but they're adorable. So I am going to use these and totally make them over, and I am using this Redesign Thornton medallion molds. I'm going to use the 2 smaller sides on smaller ones on opposing sides there, because they're mirror images of each other, and I am going to paint my bookends with Waverly chalk paint in the color Moss. Beautiful green color. Now on your molds, you saw a different clay there, and I couldn't get, don't use cheap clay, you guys, when you're using these molds. Just go for the DOS air dry clay, or either use some resin. So I had to go to Hobby Lobby after that other clay would not work, and pick up some DOS, so we're good to go. Always lay down cornstarch in your molds. That's going to help your clay not to stick in there and to pop out when you go to pop it out. That's going to help with that. So just put a good coat down and then just tap it to get any excess off. With my clay, I just kind of roll it like in kind of a snake, and then you're going to push it down in that mold. Now this clay, like I said, if you use it cheaper, and I have used cheaper clay before, it does not lay down as well as this does. This clay works perfect. And there was a spot in these molds that had, like, the center was out. So the good clay will allow you to take all that out, if that makes sense. Now I use just a combination of my fingers to get any excess out, and then I always just use a paint knife, an art knife, and you can see me here. So the trick is, and a lot of people use the credit card method, I've said that before, but the trick is not to push down into your clay, just push straight, even stroke across, and then you see you'll get up any excess, and what it'll do also is push that clay more down into your mold. And then I did take my finger and clean up around the edges, because sometimes it still leaves a little spot around the edges, so I did take my fingers to clean. You see that those little spots there, those holes that go in there. So with these silicone molds, if you use your cornstarch base and then you use your good clay, you're simply going to flip it over, and with that silicone you're just going to work that, and then your project pieces are just going to fall out. So don't go cheap on the clay. I know the DOS is a good bit higher, and that's what I was trying to do. I'm a budget girl, so I was trying to go cheap, and then I ended up just buying the DOS anyhow, so I just cost myself more money. So I lay down my molds with Tight Bond Quick and Thick glue, and I just use my finger to spread it out. Now you want a good base, but just keep in mind if you've got too much around the edges, it will push out, because you kind of got to I use like a tapping motion with my fingers to get that mold on there good. You don't want to just lay it there and hope for the best. You want to press it down in your project, but you don't want to press hard. That's why I kind of want to tap. But just keep in mind, if you've got too much glue, it's going to come out around the edges. Just use a wet wipe or your finger or a brush or whatever. Get that up, because you just don't want humps and bumps on your project, because my surface here on my bookends, the rest of it's flat, and I just didn't want to be painting over a bump. That would be sloppy. So you want to get that up. Just use a wet wipe or whatever. So I did 2 coats of this Moss chalk paint. And then I thought it looked a little harsh, so I am going to come back with my Dixie Belle Best Dang Wax in the white, and I'm going to soften up this green. It's a beautiful green, but it just looked a little harsh for me, so I just want to soften it up. So I'm just going to take, now with your waxes, get you a good brush, and my bristles always fall out, but just get you a good brush so you can go over and cover a good surface. Lay down as much as you want. That's the trick. And then use a paper towel or a cloth, and then go over it and take off as much as you want. So what you really want to do is, like, I really wanted to soften this paint a good bit, so I left a good pretty heavy coat of the wax. If you only wanted to do your mold, then just brush on the mold and take off what you want to. But you just gotta wipe off as much as you want, let that dry real good. Then I came in with my brown wax, and only on my molds I just want to pull out more detail, because the white wax just calmed it all down, made it look a little bit more boho, farmhouse look, but then I want to bring out this mold. So I went pretty heavy with the brown wax, and again, use your paper towel or a cloth and come in and wipe back to whatever you want it to look like. That's what I can tell you there. Crafting is all about what you want, or if you have a booth like I do, just what you think your customers would like. Let me know how you like this one. Alright, you guys, last project, and this is my absolute favorite. Let me know what you think. Which one is yours? So this is just one of those little tea light votive holders, and it's this porcelain. So again, I used my bonding primer, and that is the brand Country Chic, whatever it is. Anyhow, and then I painted it because I want my undercoat to be dark. So I'm using Gravel Road, and then I'm going to be using Crackle, y'all. So, and then my top, once I use the Crackle, you just put one good coat of the Crackle onto your base coat. So whatever's your base coat, whether you want it light or dark, that is going to be what's going to be coming through the Crackle. So you can go either way. You can go light or you can go dark with it. But then you're going to put your Crackle on top, and don't fuss with this a whole lot. You don't want to backstroke on that. And then when you're doing your top coat, and I'm using Dixie Belle Sea Glass because I love this blue, you don't want to fuss with it a whole lot neither. And I thought about that once I started brushing and went, I don't want to do that. So I'm using my little chippy brush and doing more of a stamping kind of method. Okay, so I'm just going to really lay that on there good. And y'all, look at this. So just let that every coat dry completely. All your projects you want to take and spray you a good sealant on top, or either use a good a sealant, DIY patina, or a good clear coat. Just protect all your projects. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it.